Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in the center ring. Hi, yeah. I've always wanted to do that. Good afternoon, everybody. I am Chris Dorobet. You may remember me from places like, so I was the former editor of Federal Computer Week, and then I had a radio show on, I was the afternoon zoo on Federal News Radio, but I left and they closed the place down. So we're all mourning that. But I just, today will be day number 7 that I just started up the Dorobet Insider is back, and I'm doing it with GovLoop. Do you know GovLoop? It's like the Facebook for feds. It's a knowledge network, and more than 50,000 people, federal, state, local, even international, actually coming together to collaborate to solve problems. And my favorite 6 words are helping people do their jobs better. It is 6, I counted. And so every day at noon, while you're eating your lunch, you can have the Dorobet Insider running right there with you and feed your mind as well as your mouth, or something like that. We're working on the terminology, but so you can find it right there, DorobetInsider.com. So excited to be here because you know, government. What do we think of the in the round thing? By the way, they're getting a much better view right now. So. And we'll see if I fall off somewhere during that will be the you know, I've had too much to drink. I'm so thrilled to be here because we know in government these days, you know, it's the best of times, it's the worst of times, and we don't have to tell you what the worst of times are, right? If anyone says do more with less one more time, we're going to beat them silly. And of course the beatings will continue until morale improves and all those kinds of fun things. But also some really incredible things going on. And we're going to spend the next little time introducing to you to some of the people who are doing those amazing things. And it is really incredible stuff going on. And the nice thing about stuff these days is it's not a 10-year time frame to roll some of these things out. You can do it in, well, pretty much they want you to do it in like 10 minutes, right? Okay, what have you done for us lately? So the time frame really changed, and you have to be much more agile and, oh my goodness, different challenges, but fun challenges. So we're going to walk you through that, introduce you to some of these great award winners. So we're looking forward to that. We're going to start off, I was supposed to do a couple things. First off, thank you to all the sponsors, because we wouldn't be doing this without you, so quick round of applause for them. And you'll meet a couple of them as we go on. And also, there was one VIP that we didn't introduce. Richard Spires is the CIO at the Department of Homeland Security, and earlier I saw him on a phone with kind of a serious look on his face, and whenever he does that, I get a little nervous. I'm not going to kid you. Like, what has gone wrong that I need to know about? But he tells me everything's fine. Are we good? Oh, good. We're good to go. Thanks for being here, Richard. And with that, we're going to start off talking to Terry Takai. You may remember Terry Takai. My first time I saw Terry Takai speaking was at another group that used to have an event down in Orlando. I don't think they do that anymore, right? They've stopped doing that. What could possibly go wrong having a government event in Orlando in spring? And it was, she was the evening speaker, and there were a couple of people who had enjoyed a couple of adult beverages, how shall we say that? And the room was not very quiet. It was nothing like you polite people. There were a lot of people having a good time. And Terry Takai started speaking, and as the room went on, as her conversation went on, the room just from the front back just got more and more quiet, and she just grabbed that audience, and by the end, everyone just couldn't wait to hear what else she had to say. She is a remarkable CIO. She's been the CIO for the state of Michigan. Then she solved all the problems in Michigan. So she then went to a state that has no problems, California. And so she thinks the challenges at DoD are easy at this point. She is the DoD CIO. She's been there for a little bit over a year, and a little bit more than a year, right? Yeah. And of course that means we'll start asking her when she's leaving. So, but she tells me she's going to be around for a little bit. And so with that, how's that for an introduction? With that, please welcome the CIO of the Defense Department, Terry Takai.
Well, Chris actually stole my line. You know, one of the things just today when I got the chance to chat with Chris before the luncheon, he actually said to me, you know, I heard a rumor that you're leaving. And I said, well, there's two ways to answer that. Either somebody knows something that I don't know, or it's a rumor out there that's just not true. And you always wonder where the source of those things are before you walk away from them and say they're not true. But I can assure Chris that actually I did get the question from someone at Federal News Radio, of all things, Chris, that asked me the same question. And I've only been at DOD a little over a year. I got there at the end of the year before. I think sometimes people think I've been there longer, either for one of two reasons. Either because they're tired of hearing of me, or they remember that it took me about a year to actually, from the time of nomination, to actually get in the job. And so they tend to count that as a part of what I've done. A couple of things I'd like to talk about just in opening up today. First of all, I really appreciate everybody inviting me to be here. This is a very, very, very big honor for me. Having come from state government and having seen the kinds of challenges that state and local governments are facing, and now being able to be here on the federal side and seeing an event that actually is cross-cutting across what local government is doing, what state government is doing, and what the federal government is doing. And I think as I talk about some of the awards, one of the things that will strike you is the similarities, really, between the awards amongst what people have done in really innovative ways. And I think that's a real challenge for us because it gives us an indication of what we can learn from each other and what we really can do. And I think that's really an exciting thing for me. One of the things we worked at when we were at the States was trying to do a very similar kind of an award program, but it never had quite the same panache as an event like this can have when you're doing it here in Washington and you're really doing it across all levels of government. Another item I wanted to mention, since I'm glad Richard is here. Richard, one of the things when I was talking to the team yesterday about the awards and about just really the tremendous kinds of things that are being done here, one of the things that Richard asked three of us to do as part of the CIO Executive Council was to develop a best practices working group. And one of the things I think that's going to be important for us going forward, Richard, is to be able to share what you're going to see today in our best practices group so that we make sure that that's got a life and we make sure that these are getting visibility on a much broader sense. So which I think you and I need to make the commitment that we will get these projects into that best practices process and make sure that they get the kind of visibility that they deserve. So let me just start out. I think we've done a review of the awards, but I think it is important to recognize that this is the premier event. And I think that what's particularly important is the theme. You know, when we talk in government about being innovative, I think first of all, I actually gave a speech at one time that talked about, you know, is government and innovation an oxymoron? Because I think that the general public doesn't really recognize how much all of you do and how much you're dedicated to really bringing innovation in. And you're bringing it in an environment that's very difficult to change. Now, I'm sure that all of you would think that that's a very strange thing for me to say coming from DOD, but it is a challenge in any large setting to really get to innovation. The other thing I wanted to do was, first of all, I definitely wanted to thank Don Johnson from my organization. I know that many of the others in the room worked really hard to make this event happen, but I just want to thank Don. I know it's taken time from all of the other things that he has to do. I was certainly no less demanding when he took this role on, and so I really want to thank him for being a part of it. But first of all, I'd like to just kind of put in context the challenges that we're facing at DOD, and I don't think you're going to find them different from the kinds of challenges that you face, but I think there is some nuances and some differences. You know, it was interesting today, someone at the table asked me, what's the difference that I see between when I was in state government and my job at DOD? And while there are many things in terms of infrastructure consolidation and efficiencies and delivering services that are very similar, there are differences. For instance, from a local government standpoint and from a state government standpoint, I found that I was very much externally facing. Those are the two government entities that actually interact and interface with citizens on a daily basis in a much different way. What I find in DoD is that I'm much more internally facing. You know, I love to say that my public interface is sort of relegated to things like Navy Moms, which is an important website, but at the same token, a lot of our information isn't what necessarily goes out to impact public policy in the same way that it is if you're at a state or local level. In many cases, the federal agencies are really about providing funds and providing money, not necessarily that citizen outreach. Another thing from a policy perspective, all of you that are in state government are very focused on meeting your governor's agendas. If you're in local government, you're really talking about your mayor or your local superintendent. And that's a different kind of political dynamic than many of us in federal government that are really looking writ large. So it's interesting to see the kinds of things that have been done here and the similarities when in fact some of the missions and the things that we're actually focused on are very different. So how does that translate to DoD? Well, one of the challenges that I've found at DoD, which is different from my state days, is that I'm not pushing technology. I got so much technology that it's really about how do you manage that, how do you get control of it, and what do you do with it. We spend approximately $38 billion a year on technology, which I think is a staggering number, as all of you might think about it. My budget when I was in Michigan was $500 million, so clearly it's been a challenge for me. So the challenge for us is, how do we actually bring those technologies together? How do we make sure that we can share information? And how do we actually make sure that we can meet our increasing cybersecurity threat? One of the things that are very different for us, different from when I was at the state level, is that from a state level we were very focused on protecting identities and making sure that our citizen information was protected. At DoD, it's pretty much all of the information that we have, as well as needing to make sure that our defense industrial base is protected against cybersecurity threats. So there are some differences between what I'm facing today and what I faced when I was at a state level. Now, all of this, as Chris said, is in the face of decreasing budget. I'm getting a bit of a reputation, which I don't think is a good reputation. I got to Michigan when they were at the start of their budget crisis. In Michigan, I think as many of you know, because of the challenge they had, was about 5 years ahead. And then, of course, I got to California right about the time that that budget crisis hit. And as Secretary Lynn said to me, the deputy prior to Ash Carter, the current deputy, said to me he wasn't quite sure whether it was a good thing or bad thing when I came on board, because I got on board and then, of course, we got hit with the DoD budget crisis. And so the challenge is, how do we effectively kind of try to live the dream, as Chris said, of doing less with less, which is kind of the challenge that we all have right now. And so with that, we're really pushing on what are the efficiencies. One of the things Secretary Panetta is keen on, and Secretary Gates before him, was to make sure that we had adequate funding to defend the nation. And that means taking as many of the administrative and the kinds of efficiencies that we can take that make us run better, make us more agile, and make us more technologically competent, so that we can make sure that the warfighter is supported, even in the face of decreasing budgets. And that's a huge challenge for us going forward. And that fits right in, I think, to the award categories that are here. You've all seen these before, but I put them up because I think they're increasingly important for us to think about. It is about enhancing the customer experience, and we'll walk through a couple of examples where you have actually come up with very innovative, creative solutions to be able to do that. The big one on our plate, and I know that the CIO Executive Council is focused on it, is intergovernmental collaboration. We work to do that just across federal agencies, but clearly it's important for us to do it with our state partners, and that's something that's obviously very important to me, having come from that world. Workforce is extremely important. For us, for instance, at DoD, educating our cyber workforce is one of the things that we're very concerned about, both in terms of being able to defend our networks, but also being able to protect the nation. Enterprise efficiencies, I'll talk about in a bit, but that's clearly one of the things that I'm focused on. In fact, just recently we had a departmental meeting where we talked about the need for the Department of Defense to look at ourselves as an enterprise and not have 772 data centers by my last count, but we're at 15,000 networks that we're trying to secure and run at 3 different classification levels. And to do that, we need to think about how we're going to do things together in a much more collaborative way. Social media has been a challenge for us as we've tried to grapple with the security implications of it. And one of the big things that we're focused on is a mobility strategy. Now we have young people coming into the service who are very used to being able to do everything they need to do, and they don't understand why they can't take that capability with them into the theater and be able to communicate on devices that they're used to being able to manage with it in their personal lives. And the challenge for us is how can we make sure that they are secure when in fact they are using those wherever they are in the world. So the key things, and I'll talk about this when we finish at the end, what are the things that we've gleaned from these projects and the award winners? And this isn't just the award winners, because I think it's important to say every project that was submitted for an award is an award winner. And clearly the challenge for the group was to try to figure out of those which was the best one in terms of the categories. But as we looked at all of the projects, there were several things that we found that were similar themes that I think are important for all of us to remember going forward. First of all, it's really that innovation and the innovative concept. But it's also about the innovation has to make a difference. There has to be a so what in it in terms of either enhancing capability or improving customer service. And those are hard things to do. It's hard sometimes to actually prove efficiency. I'll give you an example of that. We've been going through data center consolidation, and the Army went through and actually shut down a data center. And when they went back to the organization to say, how much did you save, the organization said, well, nothing. Right? So it's hard to actually find those savings and get folks to talk about those savings, because clearly they're afraid that those savings are going to get swept up and they're not going to be able to utilize them for other missions that are really, really critical and important to them. Better ways to connect with citizens and employees. And there's several of the award winners that really talk about how do we actually do that. And there's a way to do that, I think, that really enhances the way that citizens perceive government. It's a way to show that we can reach out to the citizen rather than the citizen coming to us. It's the online rather than inline concept to try to save the citizen time as well as being able to provide those kinds of services. The organizational efficiency and the effectiveness we've talked about, but finally there are ways that we're going to actually be able to transform the way that we operate today. And there's a couple of examples of projects that I want to talk about. So the first one is the EPA. Who's here from the EPA? Anybody? Nobody. Oh, darn. Well, I want to congratulate the EPA on a couple things. Not only on this particular project, but the EPA, back from my state days, was at the leading edge of being able to create a way of sharing significant amounts of information with the states in a very uniform way. Now that might seem like a simple concept, but actually they were one of the pioneers to actually bring that on board and allow that to happen. And what they did was to do something that was very innovative, is that they needed to see where they could get applications, but they didn't necessarily want to do all of the development themselves. And so they created a contest to effectively go out to the private sector as well as the folks inside government to look for innovative ideas and then take those applications and actually be able to integrate them into what they were doing. It's a great concept. It gives you a lot of flexibility, and it also opens up the venue to show that we are innovative. You know, one of the things I'm going to be doing next week is to go out to California to talk to a small business council, because it's hard for small businesses to figure out how to do business with the big DOD. I had the same problem in California. This is a way of bringing them in and actually being able to get some of those new ideas and concepts introduced. And it's, you know, it's interesting because it's as important for those that don't get adopted as those that do get adopted, because you still get the great ideas from all of those, even if in fact you aren't using all of the applications. The next one is really, I think, a great example of something that the federal CIO, Steve Van Rokel, has talked about. He's really talked a lot about the share first thought. And so if you look at what the budget, what the Treasury's done with their budget formulation and execution manager, they've created an application that they've really opened up to others in the federal government to use, and there are 6 different agencies that are using it. Now, while that may not seem like a large number, trust me, within the federal government and even within each of our own organizations, the chimneys are so great that it's tough to get people to actually do sharing. And I think this is a terrific example with 6 cabinet agencies, 13 different agencies working with this. And I'm sure this gives us now the catalyst to actually expand and move that ahead. The next is Utah. Utah is a state that I really love. Is anybody here from Utah? Okay. So there you go. All right. So Steve Jesser sent you, right? Yeah, there you go. Steve is the state CIO, and one of the fun things is that Steve and I had, when I was in state government, a tremendous competition going. From a website perspective, do you remember that? And from a state government perspective. Utah has done some fabulously innovative things, and at one point, one of the things that Utah did was to actually move to a 4-day work week. And they were able to do that because they had taken so many services and put them online that the citizens weren't disadvantaged by not having offices open. And so that's one where we talk about the technology being able to transform the way that we look at government. They were actually able to take their online services and look at how they could still service citizens, but begin to use some of the flexible working hours as a way of being able to mitigate that. And I think as you see here, they've effectively used not only their website, which, by the way, if any of you have a chance to go and see it, it's absolutely gorgeous. I'll give you guys that plug. And it's a great layout, great format, but they were able to actually reaching out to citizens both in Twitter and all forms of social media. And I think they're a great example of how you can get citizen services to come in with that. Some of the challenges, I think that the first item on the list is extremely important, and that's really that all the states are challenged with economic development, and how do they effectively make sure that both from a business perspective, but also from a citizen perspective, they can get people to work. One of the things that Pennsylvania did was to really link their job seekers with their employers. And these things are very important because it provides an opportunity for individuals who might not necessarily know how to link up to be able to use this kind of service. For instance, one of the things I think that's really important to note is that in many cases, our libraries are becoming a place that individuals go, not necessarily to use the library in the way that we've always seen it, but very often they're internet centers where individuals who are really looking for a job but may not have those kinds of facilities at home are able to get their resumes filled out. And so these kinds of services make a huge difference in that. Department of Education doing a single spot for public inquiries. You know, I always used to say, if you look in the phone book at any government agency and you look at the number of numbers that you have to call, I don't even know how you would begin to start if you had to find a service. And so being able to aggregate these into a single point of contact. Health and Human Services is obviously hugely important, just trying to get out and explain what are the benefits that people are eligible for in a simple way that they can understand them. And then clearly, the work that the Department of Labor has done, also from the standpoint of economic development. And these are applications, again, that have impact to the lives of our citizens in terms of how they see government and whether they see government as really being there to help them as opposed to being a bureaucracy that they have to work their way through. And that's where these kinds of applications are extremely important. The West Virginia eGov project, which was really to connect the education community, which is so important. You know, one of the challenges when I was in Michigan is that it was very interesting at the county level and at the city level. Most of them didn't have the resources to actually even put up a website. They were small communities, they just didn't have the wherewithal to do it. And I think West Virginia's done a great job of really finding a way to help those small communities by providing technology services that they might not. And then the next one, which is really interesting, is around the circuit court. I think many of you may be aware if you work in the court systems. Anybody here from the court systems at all? No? Well, the challenge for the court systems is how do you get people to them and how do you provide the services to them when they're spread all over the state? And they're extremely important because, again, that's the heart of the judicial system that most people have to deal with on a daily basis. And one of the things that was done in Florida was actually to connect interpreters with individuals that needed them by doing it over and using the technology to do that. The next one I think is something that should be important to all of us, and this is the FAA application where they were actually able to get workflows out so that all of the FAA employees could get the same information in a 5-second period versus an hourly period, a period of several hours that it took them to do before. And again, that's a public safety application that impacts everyone in the room. And then finally, the Coast Guard. And this is something I think we're all focused on, is how do we deal with all the data that we're getting in. The Coast Guard was actually able to bring in to a business intelligence tool 40 different data sources so that they could get to those data sources more quickly and more easily. In Richard's organization, he's been focused, I know, as we have, on enterprise and being able to look at consolidation of services. They consolidated 32 directories into one. I'm very envious. I'm challenged right now to try to look at the number of directories that we've got at DoD and try to get those into a single directory so that you can find people. The DHS project to consolidate data centers, and we're down that path, but clearly we've got a ways to go. Minnesota has done a cloud-based email solution. I think that's something that many of the agencies are looking at as we look at, do we need to run all our services ourselves? Or are there some things that we could do by actually buying the service? And I think you see the other items that are here. NASA has done the same kind of consolidation. Los Alamos Lab is doing the same kind of thing. Now, I think the other thing to point out about these enterprise efficiencies, it'd be nice to think that they were technology issues. They're not technology issues. They're issues around everybody who's very used to doing what I call hug my box, right? It's like it's mud up, and if I can't see the lights blinking, boy, I don't trust that that thing is running. And you know what? My downtime might be just as bad as if I bought the service, but there's something about being able to watch those lights blink that makes me a lot more comfortable that I can get that service up and running than if somebody else is doing it. And so I think the challenging thing behind this is not just to think of the technology challenge or the physical challenge, but actually it's about convincing people to actually use a service, trust somebody else to run my stuff, and then on the other end, be able to provide the kind of service that's necessary to make sure that you are meeting the customer demand. And sometimes that's challenging. I think many of you know that we work very closely in my office with DISA. And DISA has been working very, very hard to make sure that their customer outreach is there, making sure that they're there on all counts. But they still get complaints. And the complaints may not even be founded. I mean, one of the challenges we have is whenever you talk about a central service, what's the first thing everybody says? Too expensive. And then you say, well, how much does your service today cost? And there's dead silence. Because it's hard to know what things cost from an infrastructure all the way up. And those are the kinds of challenges that any central service provider has to overcome to make something like this happen. And Department of State's Integrated Logistic Management System, I think this is one which is clearly about internal efficiencies. It's not just about making IT better, but it's really looking at being able to reduce their manual processes and transit times by over 58%. The other thing that I think is interesting is the last point there. One of the things these IT solutions do very often is that they uncover what's actually happening in the organization. And I think here you say they accounted for over 1,000 unaccounted for IT assets. And you know as well as I do that one of our challenges is always asset management and what do we have. So what I'd like to do is to kind of review all of these projects and the projects that are going to be the award winners today. Because my challenge to all of you is while we're celebrating today, what we have to think about is what are we going to do in the next year and what are we going to have as a set of projects that are going to be submitted from all of you going forward. And as you're doing that, what do we learn from the projects that we have here? Well, this is one of my favorite ones, and that is to be persistent. I think one of the challenges that we all have is when we have a good idea and we take it into a room and somebody doesn't like it the first time, it's easy to be discouraged, or it's easy to think, well, maybe it wasn't a really good idea. I don't think that's the case. I think that good ideas have a point in time, and bringing them up and understanding when is that point in time that that idea is going to be a hit is half the battle in getting an innovative idea put forward. The other thing is, we got to be careful the way we sell our ideas. We tend to sell them as technology solutions. And what's important is that we sell them as ideas that matter to the guys that are going to be able to provide the resources and the money. And sometimes we lose that. We sort of think, well, our explanation of our best ideas should be able to carry the day. But it's really getting people to understand where we're coming from, and very often that means talking about our ideas in a way that they understand, not necessarily the way we understand. The next one is think big picture. And this is one where many of you have done that, but I think it's really about what can you look at from the standpoint of a particular project, but how is that project going to impact your entire agency going forward? The next one is, who are the key champions that you can work with? One of the challenges with any new project is you got to get somebody to support. You got to get that kind of support. And it might come from within your own organization. It might come from an individual who's not even in the current organization or your chain of command. But who is it in your organization that will champion these kinds of things and be willing to take a good idea and move them forward? And lastly, it's all about collaboration. You know, none of us as individuals can make the kinds of changes that you saw in terms of these examples up here. It's really about how do you make the connections, sometimes with individuals that you would expect to work with or you work with on a daily basis, sometimes with people within the organization that perhaps might not be seen as the people that you would have as your champions and the people that would go forward with you. So we wanted to make sure that we left this for you. Again, I just want to congratulate everyone in the room for being here. I really want to congratulate the conference participants and again, the conference organizers. I think this is an absolutely great event, and I very, very much appreciate the invitation to be here with you today. Thank you.
You have 2 minutes. Can we stay here for a minute? Oh yeah, you can get rid of that. Okay. Come on back up here.
All right.
Okay. She has time, right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, okay. He doesn't look completely convinced.
Well, you got to kind of watch him.
I
know.
I want to ask you one quick question, because when you first got this job, ACT-IAC had a wonderful event for you where they introduced you to the community. I was the uncouth guy who said, okay, you've been sitting here for a year and a half.
I remember.
Yeah,
okay. Come back to me now.
She remembers me. And I said, okay, do you matter? Does the CIO matter? And there have been a couple of things that have gone on. The Defense Business Board said, guess what? Our CIO needs to have more authority in the organization. Does the CIO, do CIOs matter now?
Yes, CIOs do matter. Now, there's 2 pieces to that. I think that we matter, but I think it is a challenge for the organization to understand why we matter. It's hard for the secretary, certainly, to understand on a daily basis. If you look at Secretary Panetta and everything he has to do in a day, what's the niche or where's the minute that he worries about what his CIO does?
When his BlackBerry doesn't work.
Yeah, when his BlackBerry
BlackBerry?
doesn't work. That's
Do
exactly
people still
right.
have those? Oh,
That's
yeah.
exactly right. Or when his airplane doesn't
Right.
have communication.
Yeah.
But regardless of what
I worry
it is,
about that too.
regardless of what it is, I mean, that's really my point.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to kind of get into the area where it matters to someone, even if that's only just a real small niche of all the things you do, and remind them that that's why we matter. So it's,
That's called managing up, right?
Exactly, exactly. So it's not something I think that we can all relax and say we matter or we don't. I think it's something on a continual basis that we've got to be in there showing value and talking about things. Again, in the way, for instance, in my case, that Secretary Panetta understands it, not in the way that I would like to explain it to him. Because most of the things I care about, he just thinks run, right? He doesn't have to worry about them, they just run. So it's the key little things, I think, that are important to make that connection.
Terry Takai, thanks so much for doing this. She's going to be here with me and hand out the first award. How awesome is that?
Absolutely.
So we're jumping right into it. Our first award this afternoon is Excellence in the Workforce. The award recognizes programs that use technology to improve the quality of the government's workforce or the working environment for employees. So our nominees are, you get to do this.
Oh, I get to read this. All right. The Information Technology Workforce Development, the Office of Information and Technology at the Veterans Affairs.
There you go.
And secondly, MilConnect web application, which is from the Defense Manpower Data Center.
There you go. And our winner is, and I'll actually let you.
Oh, okay. Gosh, I feel like Angelina Jolie or something here. Okay. That's right. Clearly, I'm not dressed for it.
Yeah.
So, okay. And the winner goes to, hooray, MilConnect web application, the Defense Manpower Data Center.
So I think they're right over here, right? 22.
All right.
Oh, there they are. I'm not looking at coffee.
Oh, that's right. We're going to do this.
Look at how fancy this is. Isn't that cool? I'll let you give it to her, and they're going to take a quick photo while we get over there.
All
right? Where's our photo?
Chris and I are going to run each other down here.
Hi. First off, congratulations.
Hi.
How cool is that?
Congratulations. Yeah, this is great. Congratulations, Tyler.
So introduce yourself first off.
I'm Mary Dixon. I'm the director of the Defense Manpower Data Center.
I'm Tyler Curtis. I'm the technical lead for MilConnect.
How old are you?
25.
Okay.
Quite disturbing, isn't it, Chris?
I was 25 once, like 65 years ago. Well, congratulations. So tell us what MilConnect is for somebody who's never ever heard of it. I'm going to have the young punk tell us. Do you remember phones with cords, by the way?
I do.
Yeah, go ahead. What is MilConnect?
It's a one-stop shop for all military service members and their families, to where they can get information they need regarding their benefits and update information like their contact information or education benefits.
And the biggest challenge you faced in getting this thing rolled out was?
I think he probably should answer that.
There you go.
Coordinating with different agencies, and there was a big technology upgrade that we recently did just to get everything on the latest and greatest, and so a lot of bugs that I couldn't reproduce, and just trying to figure them out. So yeah.
And I got to ask you. So you're 25 years old, and so I have a little 9-month-old, and I know that my little 9-month-old isn't thinking about a career in government. Why'd you choose a career in government?
I was looking to develop, and the big reason why I chose the NBC is because I really could get behind the purpose of serving the military members, serving those who serve our country. It's something that I got really excited about.
God love you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Tyler. And thank you, Terry. Thanks so much for doing that.
Absolutely, Chris. Thank you.
Really appreciate your being here, and I know she has to rush off. I mean, how cool is that to get the DoD CIO to? So we have one more award, and then I get people here. I'm like Letterman. I have the same gap in my tooth. Let's see. It says Chris Dorbeck returns to the stage. I've done that. Our second award this afternoon is for Excellence in Innovation in Social Media. The Excellence in Innovation Social Media Award goes for programs that use social media, or collaboration tools, as I like to call them, to achieve the agency's mission or better serve a particular constituency. The use of media to solicit public input on a regulatory or similar issue, creating a community of interest using social media, are just some of the examples of use of these tools. And we all know what these tools are, right? So our nominees are, the finalists are CoNX, is that how I say that? Connect? Oh, there you go. And that's at the State Department. And then Utah Connect, that's the state social media portal that is from the aforementioned Utah Department of Technology Services. And we know there are a couple Utah people here, right? Hi. Yeah. Are you in Utah denial? You're okay. Oh, okay. Hi. So the winner is Utah Connect, state social media portal for Utah Department of Technology Services. And I'm gonna, if you guys, we can go over and give it to them. Oh, I almost fell, didn't I? You almost had me right in your lap, boy. They'd go home talking, wouldn't they? Congratulations on this. Now you guys are with the congressional office, and so you didn't actually roll out this program. How did you help this program roll out? But thank you for being here and representing those folks. Awesome job. Thank you very much. There you go. Oh, I could give them this. Later on, I'll give you your card so you can take that home and frame it and be very, very happy. So our next award, please join me up on the stage. Mike Grasso. He is with Lockheed Martin. You know, Lockheed Martin, they're so close to moving from 8A to a mid-sized firm. We're just really, really hopeful about that. And so, hi, how are you? So we are here to present our third category, which is Excellence in Enhancing Customer Service. And enhancing customer service, these are applications that impact citizens, employees, and they put a little note in here, half of the finalists are state and local government programs. So you're going to read, and we actually have a little bit we're doing, right? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. All right, the finalists for Excellence in Enhancing Customer Service are E-Verify Self-Check, Department of Homeland Security Office of the CIO.
Oh, and I'm guessing they're over there. Yeah.
Fairfax County Public Schools Information Technology, Fairfax County Public Schools Department of IT.
Awesome.
High-Tech Payment File Development Contractor, PFDC, Centers of Medicare and Medicaid Services. MSC.gov, the NRO, National Reconnaissance Office. New Hampshire Electronic Application System, EASY, New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services. At that point, I'll stop for trivia. Chris?
I used to live in New Hampshire for 5 years, so.
That must be tough.
Yeah.
New Hampshire is
It's very dark there.
known as, which state? What is New Hampshire known as?
Oh, I know this one because I used to live there. It's the Granite State. Oh, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Ralph, Chris. All right, West Virginia, DMV, Vehicle Registration System. West Virginia, Department of Motor Vehicles, WVOT. Okay. West Virginia is known as the...
Wild and Wonderful?
No. Close.
Huh? What?
Mountain State.
Oh, there you go.
Commonly known as also the FBI state, but that's another story.
Oh, okay, and that's those are our finalists. And so when these awards started in 2001, the USGS, the U.S. Geological Survey, won the Overall Excellence Award for a system that printed maps on demand. Can you imagine? We've come a long way, baby. And changed it, but that was an enormous change, from mapping from printing operation to a customer service, and just the world has changed. Oh, you have the winner, don't you? There you go. And the
Almost hermetically sealed envelope. And the winner goes to E-Verify Self-Check, Department of Homeland Security.
So you get the award, and we'll go over here and we're going to talk to these folks. Who's a good person to talk to? Oh my goodness. You're very, very tall people. So I'm going to talk to her. I'm much more comfortable with her. Yeah, we like girls better than boys anyway. Hi, introduce yourself and tell us who you are.
Hi, I'm Michelle Walker, and I was the DHS OCIO program manager for the E-Verify Self-Check project.
Let's meet the rest of your football team.
I'm Greg Francis. I was the team lead on the Self-Check project for the verification division of USCIS.
And I'm Mike Mayhew, and I supported Greg and Michelle.
So Michelle, tell us what this program does. No one knows about it in here, so what does it do?
So this is a way for new immigrants or for the U.S. workforce to validate their work authorization in an online way. So they could do it from their home, and it also helps to validate the E-Verify program.
Very nice. And biggest challenge you faced as you were rolling this thing out, other than all the crosstalk that was going on out there?
Contracting.
No acquisition people here, right? No. Contracting because it just takes so long, or it's so complex, or God knows we all want to do away with the FAR, or...
No, we had a, and Mike talked more about this, but we had an existing contract in place that we weren't able to use for this, so we had to come up with an innovative solution, and we were able to find our friends here at the Enterprise Systems Development Office at DHS and work with them to get it in place.
And Mike, tell me, the biggest takeaway that folks should learn from getting this thing out the door effectively.
I think the benefit we had was having partners who were innovative, partners who were willing to push the envelope and try new technologies, and we were able to deliver a really good solution very quickly because of the partners that we had found.
Very nice. Congratulations. And he'll give you your award. Nice job. Thank you very much. Ann McDonald from VMware. Where are you? Did I miss one? Hi, Ann. How are you? Our fourth award this afternoon is called Excellence in Governmental Collaboration. No challenges there, right? To help present this award, here is Ann McDonald from VMware. The Excellence in Intergovernmental Collaboration Award. Oh, they want to give you, come on, it's okay. We'll edit this out after rehearsal. So, Excellence in Intergovernmental Collaboration Award focuses on programs that cross organizational lines, break down traditional barriers, all those kinds of things that folks are trying to do every day. So, the nominees are? Oh, I need to do this.
The nominees are, for the Excellence in Intergovernmental Collaboration Award, DC Criminal Justice Coordinating Council Case Initiation.
You can say? Yeah.
Easy for me, but DC Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, GeoConops DHS, Department of Homeland Security. I have to open my camera a little bit so I can see. Logis, the National Broadband Map, National Telecommunications and Information Administration of the Department of Commerce, and also Federal Communications Commission, Defense Connect Online, DCO, Defense Information Systems Agency, DISA. You've heard of them, right?
I think the head of this is getting a new job. So. Oh, and the winner goes to?
Winner goes to my own DC Criminal Justice Coordinating Council Case Initiation Project, District of Columbia.
There you go. Let's go over here. 21. Here. Oh, look, she's right over here. Be careful, don't fall. You got it? I almost fell. So, hi, how are you guys? Who should I talk to? Hi.
Manon Butler, the Executive Director of the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council.
Introduce your team to us. There you go, Brooke.
Brooke Hedge, a judge who is the supporter. I'm the judge. I'm the, I guess, the sponsor.
Right. And?
Imran Chaudhry, I'm the CIO of the CJCC.
And we're both DC residents, so thank you for everything you do. So tell us what this project is.
The Case Initiation Project was an interagency project, actually consisting of 8 federal, local, and our judiciary, which allowed us to automate case filing, actually adult case filing in the District of Columbia.
And biggest challenges?
Actually was a major challenge, but also an opportunity, because the DC Criminal Justice Coordinating Council was founded to coordinate our criminal, local, and federal agencies in the district. And so it was coordinating the project, but it was also an opportunity to do what we did.
It's like herding cats, isn't it?
It is, but it also is something that we did.
So how do you get people, because all these folks have these projects that cross boundaries, and everybody says, yeah, I'd love to change as long as I can continue doing everything the same way I always have. And how do you convince people that this new system that they're going to use is better and faster and will actually help them do their jobs better?
Well, everyone had skin in the game and everyone was at the table. And actually, Judge Hedge was, I think, quiet in saying she's been at the forefront of our system, the Justice Information System. And so we had key stakeholders, the leaders of all of our local, federal, and judiciary was at the table from day one. So we had the leaders and also our IT partners and business partners and the vendor partners at the table. So it was not without challenges, but we had support across the board. So.
Awesome, congratulations. And I know, I'm not saying this as, but sometimes judges not always the biggest fans of technology. So sometimes it gets a little pushback. So thank you very much, congratulations, nice job. She'll give you your award. I could flip my page, then I could do it. Laura Osborneson. Laura. Oh, she is here. She says from the back, and she's running forward. She is with Unisys. Our 5th award is Excellence in Innovation Mobility. And Laura is here to present this. These awards recognize, what are you doing?
It's on my phone.
Oh, wow, look how fancy. Hold up your, you know, Mary here has like the Smithsonian of technology here. It's an iPad 1, and then she has something called a BlackBerry. Have you heard of one of those? And you know how you can see it? It just has a little hourglass that runs constantly on the screen, so it's awesome. There's nobody from BlackBerry here, are there? The Excellence in Innovation Mobility Awards recognize programs aimed at supporting mobile government, whether for versatile citizen access or to increase employee flexibility. And our nominees are?
They are the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives Bureau and the U.S. Marshal Office for deploying and supporting iPhone, iPad in the Department of Justice environment. Number 2, the GSA Sustainable Facilities Tool, General Services Administration.
Oh, and our favorite one.
San Francisco Municipal Transportation Agency, the SF Park, as in cars, not forests or whatever, project.
There you go. And I'm told that these finalists piloted the use of commercial mobile devices in law enforcement. They developed a tool that allows folks to conserve natural resources and find parking using smartphones. So pretty cool stuff. San Francisco, no parking problem there, so that's, I've used that one. Thank you very much. And our winner is?
Aha, it is the SFMTA, that's San Francisco Park Project.
There we go. And where is it? Hold on, it tells us right here. Here, the table. Oh, look, right there. He's going to come that way. Hi, nice to see you. Steve Brooks.
Hi, Steve Brooks. I'm from Oracle. I work with the SF Park project out in San Francisco.
You live in San Francisco?
I actually live in Seattle, but it's just a short drive.
Yeah. What could possibly go wrong? No, but this is tell us what this program does, because I've actually used this. It's very cool.
Yeah. Have my iPhone, and if you and I were going to drive over to San Francisco this afternoon to go to Ghirardelli Square for Sunday, let's do it. We would say where we're going to park. And we put in the street address, and it'd give us a suggestion for where we probably are going to find a free space. So a combination of technology.
You hear them all. They're just, When's the DC one start?
Yeah, tomorrow if you're ready.
Let me introduce you to these people. So, so biggest challenges in getting this to roll out?
You know, how many complex problems do you have to solve? You got to install a new parking meter that's intelligent. You've got to plant a sensor in the ground and then figure out how you can collect continuous data from it with a services-oriented architecture, web services environment. Put into some kind of business intelligence tool and deploy that out to desktops and mobile apps. So it's been a very wonderful project because it incorporates so many aspects of technology and modern edge stuff. So lots has happened in the last year.
And why, by the way, are all the finalists taller than I am? I'm not a short man. I'm
nearly as humorous as you are. That's it.
You're very kind. Yeah, we're taking it across the country. But one of the challenges I know is getting all this data in a way that people can actually use it. How do you go about doing that without spending? And I hear that people don't have that much money right now. So how do you do that in a way that isn't that expensive?
Well, you know, we have, unfortunately, since I'm from Oracle, I'm proud to say that we have a complete Oracle technology stack involved, from database, middleware, business intelligence, which has become the tools that have been used. It's collecting the data, putting it into a warehouse, determining how you can best understand both trend aspects from a pricing impact standpoint as well as availability. It's just a broad team of great technologists working together at the state level and the federal level, and it's been a great project.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. Laura will give you your prize, and I will thank you very much. Nice to talk to you. No, we're on 6th award, and Tim Maschek. Did I get that right, Tim? Maschek. Maschek. Oh. I used to be in radio. You can tell why I'm no longer with radio, right? Excellence in Enterprise Efficiency, and these awards are presented to programs that improve efficiency or reduce costs in government operations. No challenges there, and luckily everyone's just rolling in dough, so they don't really have to worry about this. So we're done. This had the largest pool of nominees. So there was almost half of all the nominations were in this category. So we have a whole bunch to go through, so I hope you've done your exercise, you're ready to run your marathon. Here we go. And the nominees are
Budget Formulation and Execution Manager Program, Bureau of the Public Debt Treasury Department. Coast Guard Business Intelligence System, U.S. Coast Guard Department of Homeland Security. DC Information Technology Staff Augmentation, District of Columbia Office, the Chief Technology Officer. Decision Knowledge Programming, Deck Plate NALDA, Naval Air Systems Command, U.S. Navy, NAVAIR. Integrated Logistic Management System, Department of State Bureau of Administration. Federal NOTAM System and FNS, Federal Aviation Administration. GSA Carbon Footprint Tool, General Service Administration. GSA Enterprise Email and Collaboration, GSA OCIO. NAVC, Naval System C Command, Naval System C Systems Command.
Oh my goodness, are you exhausted? Oh, let's just take a break. Oh, yeah. All right, here we go.
Here we go. All right, I'm going to start. Where'd I leave off at?
Infrastructure on demand. NAVC.
I'll do NAVC again. I don't want to cut him short. Okay. Naval Sea Systems Command, NAVC, U.S. Navy. Infrastructure on demand, cloud in Los Alamos National Laboratory, National Nuclear System Administration, Department of Energy. NSWG4, Government Purchase Card Program, U.S. Navy, Special Warfare Group 4. And Forge.mil, Defense Information Systems Agency.
I've heard of them. Are the Naval Special Warfare Group, are they here? Are you there? Tell me, how did you come up with the NSWG? Oh, hi. He's stealing your thunder. Are you actually with this program? You're not with this. How did you come up with this acronym? NSWG4. Of course. What could possibly go wrong? All right, so our winner in the category of excellence in enterprise efficiency, our winner is...
And the winner is Integrated Logistics Management System, ILMS, Department of State.
And that would be, they're right here. Look at that. You go that way, I'll go this way. Oh yeah, and not only, sorry, thank you very much. Don Arnold, everybody, he's the voice in my ear. Not only are they the winner of the enterprise efficiency, but they win the big winner overall because this project is so cool. So congratulations on that. They don't seem that excited about this. They're the big winner overall. They still don't seem.
Honored, and I think I speak on behalf of the department and all my colleagues. My name is Dee Woodard. I'm the director of the Logistics Systems Division in the A Bureau Administration.
There you are. And Amy?
I'm Amy Teener. I'm actually the contractor program manager.
There you go. So describe to us what this program does.
Well, ILMS, the Integrated Logistics Management System, better known in our department as ILMS, is a department supply chain management system, and it has automated a what was a primarily paper-based supply chain system across the whole world. We have embassies, like 261 embassies and consulates all around the world. And so we've been able to automate the process of the ordering of goods and supplies.
So really it was done on paper?
Used to be done on paper. Everything used to go in a black hole. Now we're able to ship, we're able to track everything in the system from the time there's an order through shipment to receipt. And it does that through different functionality. We have procurement, tracks procurement requisitions, contracting, warehousing. We have status tracking. You can check the status of an order. Anyone can throughout the life cycle, and asset management as well.
And biggest challenge that you faced as you were rolling this thing out? How long did it take, by the way?
Amy? I want to, Amy, this has been a real partnership between the government and Accenture. They've been with us since the inception. And I would also be remiss if I didn't mention my boss, who couldn't be here today, Ms. C.C. Coates, who was a visionary behind this. But this has taken about 10 years.
Kind of grassroots effort to centralize the system. CC had to fight a lot of hard battles, but by the time we had the system up and running to deploy it to all sites, it's been about 4 years.
And some of those battles that you faced were?
The largest battle we faced was change management. We're dealing with, like I said, 261 consulates and embassies, as well as all the bureaus here at headquarters. So change management has been a challenge, but I think we successfully addressed.
But change management, I mean, you're coming to them and saying, okay, those papers that you, fax? God only knows how you get them from one place to the other.
People love their paper. They love their file cabinets. They love the way things have been and don't necessarily want to change. But I think we successfully addressed that through first of all, we had to fight hard to get funding to be able to come up with travel teams, because we have found out that training makes all the difference. So we were able to.
And it's the first thing we cut, isn't it? We cut, who needs that?
But we did not cut that, and I think it made all the difference. We had teams of 2 to 4 people that would actually deploy to the different embassies and consulates and train for a week, and then provide a week of on-site support, and that was big. It made all the difference. And we were also able to work face-to-face with the users and develop relationships with them that we use to turn into stakeholder groups. And we would get our requirements. We're all about continuous improvement over the years, and we get our requirements directly from our users through stakeholder work groups, and we bring folks here for workshops, and that's how we address.
And you two still clearly at least like each other a little bit, and that's not always the customer contractor relationship. How do you make sure that worked?
It just works. I think we have a very strong program management entity for the program, and we work very closely together, and it just works. I mean, I've been in the government for about 20 some odd years. And this is one of the best programs I've ever worked on. It's one of the strongest, and we do have a very good relationship with our integrators, which I think also makes a big difference.
Was the government hiring 2-year-olds then? You can't be.
We won't go there.
Please, a big round of applause for our big winner. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Nice job. Reading all those. Does that do it for us? Are we all done now? Can I go home? Oh, we have one more page? Oh, yeah. I have the little piece of paper. All right. Here's my tough test. Okay. Here's how agile I am. This is what they gave me. Be done with that. Finalists will be, your awards. So if you weren't one of the big winners, and in this thing, everyone, you're all winners. Congratulations to all of you, and final round of applause. Nice job. I know it's tough doing this stuff these days, so God love you. All of the awards will be outside, and also if you didn't get your photos, those are outside too. Am I forgetting anything else? Am I forgetting anything else? Oh, we're all good. Thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate your being here. For you guys, well, for everyone, I know it's the best of times, it's the worst of times. You can make things happen. You're doing God's work, so thank you very much for doing that. I'll see you on GovLoop. Come join me on GovLoop. Insights.govloop.com. Did I get the thing right? We'll see you there. Thank you very much for being here. Oh, you're closing out. Oh, dessert outside. When I said, is there anything else that I'm forgetting, that's when you chime in. So there's dessert outside, there's coffee, there's sodas, there's water, anything you want, and go mingle. Thanks for being here. Congratulations, everybody.